Hello everybody and welcome to the Showcast, a series of candid conversations from the world of film brought to you by The Film Verdict and hosted by yours truly, Matt Micucci. Today we're going to be delving into the inaugural edition of the Immersive Competition at the Cannes Film Festival, which showcased immersive works including virtual reality, mixed reality works and beyond, representing a new era of storytelling and embracing new technologies. The winner of this competition was Colored, an augmented reality location-based experience by Stephane, Foekinos and Pierre-Alain Giraud. And joining us to talk about his first-hand experience of this immersive competition is Film Verdict critic Max Borg, who will also be sharing some thoughts and opinions about whether Cannes officially embracing this new type of storytelling within its program will have a resonating impact on the international film festival scene. So fire up an audio teeny and listen to the audio waves as they fly through the air. This is the Showcast. Hi Max, welcome to the Showcast.
Hi Matt.
It's a pleasure to speak with you, Max, and thanks for popping in for a chat, the bulk of which will revolve around this year's Cannes Film Festival's brand new immersive competition. Very excited to talk about that one, but I'd like to start off by breaking the proverbial ice and asking you about your experience this year in Cannes. You've been attending for many editions. What was your experience like there this year, and how does it compare to previous editions that you attended?
I had a lot of fun. I've been going for, this was my 7th edition as a journalist, and it was a bit more relaxed in terms of getting to see the films because this year I was on the Fipreschi jury, the international critics jury. So we had a higher priority when it came to booking tickets. But it was also a bit more stressful because obviously being on a jury, I had to watch specific films. So I was running from one screening to the next pretty much every day.
Yeah, one of the things that I disliked about the Cannes Film Festival was queuing up for the screenings. So it's good when you have, an accreditation that prioritizes you in that sense. Yes, for sure. But yeah, you were part of a jury. You watched films. The obligatory question is, are there any films that stood out to you that you feel we should know about?
Yes, my 2 overall favorites, these were both in competition, were The Seed of the Sacred Fig by Mohammad Rasulov from Iran and The Substance by Coralie Farja, this body horror set in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for introducing this conversation. It's nice to know about the atmosphere of what was happening in Cannes. And one of the things that was happening, of course, and we should delve into is this immersive Cannes section. But before we do, we kind of have to take it from the top here, Max, because terminology is an important thing. So what do we mean when we talk about immersive works?
Yes, so when we talk about immersive works, we're talking about audiovisual work that is based on technology tied to augmented reality, virtual reality. So conventionally speaking, the one where you sit down and you watch it with special goggles.
Right. So it's basically works that go beyond the 2-dimensional screen type of experience.
Yes. And like I said, conventionally, those that require goggles or visors, although there are works nowadays that do not. For example, last year in Venice, which has been doing immersive works as part of their selection for 7 years now, they had this wonderful thing called Jim Henson's Storyteller, where they had this prop book. And when you opened it, each page had this 3-dimensional illustration illustrating this fairy tale narrated by Neil Gaiman. So they are going in various directions with this technology.
Nice. So to provide a little bit of context, immersive works have been presented in Cannes since 2017. And the first one was Alejandro González Iñárritu's Carne y Arena. But this year marked the first edition with an actual immersive competition. So tell us a little bit about it, Max. How did this inaugural competition go? Again, what was the range of the works presented and who were the big winners?
Yeah, so like you said, they first did this 7 years ago, although that was a bit of an exceptional case. Like with TV series, Cannes would program those on a special occasion. So 7 years ago was the 70th anniversary, and Iñárritu, of course, is a filmmaker who's been to Cannes before, so it felt appropriate to show that kind of work at the time. Now they've decided to do a proper immersive selection similar to Venice, they started doing it 6 years ago. The range was interesting, although because it was the first year, there's still a few kinks to be worked out, particularly in terms of getting people to watch the immersive selection. Because to provide some context, the main hub in Cannes is the Palais des Congrès des Festivals, in the center of the city, where you have the screening rooms and the market and all that. Whereas the immersive works were shown at the Cineum, which is this multiplex that was inaugurated 3 years ago for catch-up screenings of the official selection. And it's half an hour away from the center of the city by bus. So not the most convenient location, especially if you're in Cannes for work, because you have meetings and screenings planned and not much wiggle room to wing it.
Yeah, so that doesn't sound very practical if you're especially in a busy place like Cannes. But yeah, in terms of like the actual works that were presented, what was the quality like?
I didn't see a lot of it for obvious reasons. That's also something they need to work on, their communication, because there was a press day on the 14th of May, but they didn't officially announce it until the day before, when people have already started planning their stay in Cannes. So that's a bit impractical, but the quality itself was pretty high on the works I saw, because the way the press day worked was there was a sampler of some of the stuff, and then you could watch some of the complete experiences. And I did 4 in particular, none of which won, but they were all very interesting. And there were 3 in particular that I enjoyed, because they did something that I find very interesting about immersive works, in that they put you in the shoes and mind of people who are dealing with specific conditions. Yes, so there were 3 of them in particular. One was called Notes on Blindness, one was called Emperor, and one was called Maya, the Birth of a Superhero. So going through them in order, Notes on Blindness is based on the real-life experience of a person who gradually went blind and recorded his own thoughts on the matter on a daily basis. So this experience takes those recordings and puts you in his shoes and conveys this idea of blindness. The best way I can describe it is, if you've seen the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, they have this these POV shots where he basically has this radar sense that conveys vague outlines of objects and people. And it's the same thing here. Like, when you turn around in the 360-degree environment and you see these vaguely defined shapes, and he basically goes on sound to properly convey what he's feeling in that moment.
Nice one. Yeah, so you alluded to it earlier, kind of, and, in my estimation as well, Cannes is known for its more traditionalist approach, for better or worse. For a festival like Cannes to fully embrace this form of storytelling, in your opinion, what does it mean? Do you see it resonating throughout the film festival scene? Is this another sign that immersive works, as we've been calling them, will become an increasingly important feature at film festivals worldwide?
I think they will, especially if you know how to sell them properly. Like Venice did a very good job of that, because on the one hand, the actual immersive island, as it's called, it's its own dedicated space, and it's within travel distance from the main island, or from the Lido. You're there in 1 minute by boat. Also, the first edition they did, so we're talking 2018, they had people like John Landis on the jury. So they also got people to talk about it by getting people who are not necessarily tied to that world. Whereas in recent years, the jury has become more VR specific, but the works also have more mainstream appeal. Like last year in Venice, there was this Neil Gaiman work. There was a David Attenborough VR experience. There was a Wallace and Gromit VR experience. So yeah, it's really expanding in a way that is becoming more mainstream. Cannes, having only recently embraced the format, needs to do more work in terms of making it more palatable to mainstream audiences, and maybe more accessible as well. Like, the Cineum is a terrific location, but maybe not the best for this kind of presentation in terms of getting eyeballs from people who are coming to Cannes for work, because Cannes, contrary to popular myth, does not have a regular audience per se. It's mostly people who come for the festival and the market as journalists and buyers and sellers and whatnot.
Yeah, and we should also mention that, as far as I could understand, there's, aside from the actual works that were presented, there was also panel discussions and things like that, right?
Yeah. There were discussions. Those have been happening even before the competition was a thing, because the market has always had a space for augmented reality and virtual reality and all that. That's been a thing for a while, and I think those talks will increase now that there's a proper space for immersive works in Cannes.
Awesome, Max. Well, thanks very much for joining us to discuss this very hot topic. We covered a lot of ground today. You travel to several different festivals and events every year, and people should check out your coverage on thefilmverdict.com. But, just to keep up with what's happening. But what's next for you on your calendar?
Next is supposed to be Annecy in France, the animation film festival. Yeah, so that's next on the docket, assuming things don't fall through. There's been a minor setback, but I'm working on it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Max, thanks very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this special report from the Cannes Film Festival. There's plenty more great content from the world of film to sink your ears into across various streaming platforms. Just look for TFV Network wherever you get your podcast from, or keep an eye on filmverdictnetwork.com. Till the next time, from The Film Verdict, this is Matt Micucci signing off. See you soon.